as England prepare ahead of tonight's World Cup semi-finals, we are now going to be talking about the power of prayer, because I know we all say we're praying for a win, but I'd love to know if people are literally doing that. And of course, there was Maradona who once said infamously, the hand of God won him the 1986 World Cup. I've got with me some guests to talk about this. Imam Abdul Basit.
Hey there.
How are you doing? You're laughing there at Maradona. Just laughing at him generally.
No, the guy was a flipping genius. He really was. But
his antics at the moment leave a lot to be desired.
Well,
right?
the thing is, it's the same as Ilie Nastase. Just, I don't care how great a sportsman you are, you don't really have a right to be nasty at any point.
Sure.
But the man was a genius.
I've also got Dr. Harish Mehra, founder of the Asian Rationalist Society, Sukhdeep Singh from the Sikh Educator, and Bijal Majisia, founder of EY Hindu Network and Vida London. Good to have you all here.
Thank you.
I need to, first of all, get into the football just very quickly, because why not?
Indeed.
It's craziness. Let me ask you, first of all, Abdul, how are you feeling about the game?
Very excited. I mean, I've got ground passes to Wimbledon, and I think we're going to be probably watching from the All England Club or one of the swanky bars in the area with me and my coach.
So you're gonna be out and about?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be at All England today and on Friday, and I actually, for the first time in my life, hit with someone who had practiced with Roger Federer yesterday, so that was good.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in another life I was a semi-professional tennis player, but still play international stuff in the seniors. But how am I feeling? I'm feeling we've got a very good chance. If we beat Croatia, we should beat France, although beware the man of Umtiti. He seems to be a dangerous man.
Yep.
Yeah, we could do it, and I think what we have in Kane is a totem. You've got a guy who's a world-class striker, and the basic strategy is don't lose the ball, pass it to Kane, put it in the goal.
Yeah.
Right, it works.
Bijal, how are you feeling?
Yeah, equally nervous, excited, and definitely think we're in for a chance, and I am praying for the win.
So you're actually going to literally be praying for it. We want to talk a little bit more about that. Sukhdeep, how are you feeling?
Feeling great. I'm looking forward to the game. It's not all the time you get to see England in the semi-finals.
Might not see it again.
Yeah.
If we're honest.
You have little faith.
We'll talk about that as well. Harish, how are you feeling?
I'm just looking forward to actually see how actually they play, and best wishes.
Yeah. So let's talk about the whole, the God in these situations. That's what our panel's about. What's God got to do with it? What's God got to do with football? I'm going to put that out there. Let me come to you first, Abdul.
Right, well, God's got to do with everything, because I prefer Kierkegaard's take on it from a rationalist perspective. His definition of God was the rational being, or the necessary being. So if we posit from a philosophical perspective that there must be an origin, I like the term origin, that's not Kierkegaard, that's mine, an origin to existence, then that object or that origin must be incontingent by its nature, and therefore everything flows from the ocean. So God has everything to do with everything, including football, from love and life, from your sandal straps to your wife, right? He's got to do with everything.
And you're praying, Bijal, I mean, is it kind of a, when you say praying, do you mean literally? Do you think you'll be praying?
So in the Bhakti tradition, we believe in a very personal relationship with God. So there are obviously levels of prayer, but if we believe that God is, as you mentioned, Abdul, connected to everything,
Indeed.
then why would you not pray? Why not? It's not like we're limited in the amount of prayers that we can have.
No, that's true.
Why not? And it's also an opportunity for those that have never prayed before to pray for the first time.
I suppose.
But let's not forget that the Croatians are praying too. And
whose prayers win?
Whose prayers win? But also, God is not partial to one side or another, so we may not always get the result we want, but in any case, it's a great day for football. It's a great day to try out prayer.
Harish?
I totally disagree. I think the prayers will never work, and prayers never do work. And prayer to whom? I think the concept of God is a total delusion. And if the prayers can actually help, then prayers could have helped the many people who are suffering. They're suffering child abuse, for example. Those children should have been okay with the prayer. And the people who are in an NHS who are suffering from a number of diseases, they could have been cured by the prayers. And we do not need even police, or we do not need even army, because the prayers can actually solve all the problems. problems. And I do not understand that how the prayers can actually help. And if you look at the Charles Darwin theory, for example, origin of species, I think that guy had made very clear how actually we were created. So there's no such thing called God, as far as I'm concerned.
I'd like you to pick up on those points. Let me come to you.
It's quite interesting what Harish is saying, actually. And the thing in the Sikh faith, the Sikh perspective, is that when it comes to prayer is like a communicating to the divine. And it's about building a relationship with that one. And this is something that Sikhs do, and many people do, whether that's long-term or short-term. So when it comes to football, for example, many people may be doing the short-term prayer, where it's like they're not thought about God for a long time, but now it's the football. It's like, God, please make they win the penalty shootout, for example. But when it comes to the Sikh faith, we don't just pray and leave it there. We then apply it into action. So something that Sikhs do, for example, is that they say Sarbat Pala within their prayer. That means that may good come to all of mankind. So after we pray, we actually go out there and we serve people. And we have many Sikhs or many charities in place that actually go out there and help those poor people, those ones that are being attacked, being oppressed, as this person is mentioning. So it's not just about sitting there on a sofa and just praying to God and just hoping. Also, we need to take action as well, and that's something that many faiths do as well. We're not just like these airy faith people. We actually do go out there and make a difference within the world.
Yeah. Abdul?
Right, just to let you know, Harish, I'm currently studying a Master's by Research in Theoretical Astrophysics, and as a scientist, I'm a little angry with you because you've misrepresented a point. First things first, what the origin of species states. Have you read the book?
Absolutely.
Great. Okay, where does he state that the origin of creation doesn't require a creator in the book? Can you tell me that?
No, I think we're not actually discussing the book as such.
You mentioned it. You've opened the door, my friend.
I opened the door because that's the origin of species that actually has changed. And you're not allowing me to actually say what I want to say.
Lies on top of lies aren't useful things.
The point I'm making is that if we look at the scientific work so far, we couldn't find any evidence of so-called God. And so whom to pray?
Okay, absolute codswallop. Sorry, no, I need to.
I will let you get your point in. I think we could end up going off on a tangent. I'm aware of that, about whether God exists or not. I think
that's not the question here.
That's not the question at all. And Harish, I think you're trying to say here is that you don't believe in the power of prayer.
Because he doesn't believe in God.
You don't believe in God. You don't believe in interventional. Anything in intervention as a result of praying.
I think the people who are so-called religious, they are actually conditioned that the prayers actually do help. If you look at the slavery, for example, the prayers couldn't actually emancipate them. And if you look at the situation of India, for example, we got the freedom because our freedom fighters actually fought for it.
You're being a bit of a party pooper, aren't you? Because some people enjoy the power that prayer brings them. Now, we can argue back and forth about does it work in terms of intervening, but it does help people to be calm, to be focused. It makes them feel better. If I can get you in here, Bijal, just explain why you find praying useful.
So, biology and science aside, like the universe is full of emotions and feelings too, and talking to God is connecting to him, and that's our relationship. Whichever God you choose to pray to, that's your choice. But I know on a personal level that I feel better when I pray, and I feel love coming back. And although, you might want me to go down the intellectual route and explain that, it almost doesn't matter, because I know how I feel when I meditate. I know how I feel when I pray, when I practice yoga. And my prayer is an awakening of my spiritual relationship with God.
Yeah.
If I can, I'll come to you, Abdul. But if I can, Harish, just on that point that
I think it's just a placebo effect. As I said before, we couldn't find any evidence at all because people are conditioned to believe in this thing, and that's why they feel calm. When I keep quiet and stay for some time, just admiring the nature, that gives me calmness. I think that's a different phenomenon altogether.
That nature is there by a creator that has individually planted every aspect of it for your enjoyment.
I'm not saying that you should believe or not to believe, but what I'm saying is this is my arguments are, and we couldn't find any evidence so far that there's such thing called God. And people who believe in that, that's good luck to them.
Right.
But it has not solved the problems of the people. It has divided the people. It actually has subjugated the people. It has created more hatred in the world rather than the peace or the love.
Great. Okay, first things first. You're attempting to take the rational chair, whereas a lot of your predicates are irrational. First things first. The idea, now, one of my scientific heroes is Professor Leonard Susskind. He's the father of string theory and perhaps probably the most intelligent man on earth right now. There's a good argument for that. Now, he has a statement in 2006 at the Perimeter Institute, where he says the universe looks like it's designed. Now, I don't know if you're a scientist or if you have any scientific training, but Professor Leonard Susskind, who is, by the way, an atheist, does, and he says the universe looks like it's designed, right? Now, his argument is the anthropic principle, which is a belief which has no scientific proof. There are only 2 currently existing theories in vogue amongst philosophers and scientists, and I'm working at the cutting edge of science, right, which I presume that you aren't, unless you are, right, that I can tell you about. The anthropic principle and an origin, right? Now, for me, you explain to me what seems more rational and what provides the condition of Occam's razor.
So
now, hold on. Let me ask the question, then you can answer.
Okay.
Right? The question is this. Does it make more sense that we're in an infinite set of universes that existed from something that we don't know, then we happen to be in the one where conditions are right for life, or that there's an origin that created without being created? What's simpler?
I think the simple is that because this is what the scientists are trying to find out. The Big Bang Theory is there, and they're still trying to find out where it is. If someone can prove to me that there's existence of God, I will start believing in it. But so far, we couldn't find any evidence at all.
I disagree with you.
No, that's okay. I think we can agree to disagree. That's fine with me.
Yeah,
I've got no problem with that. But I've got no problem with it. But so far, the people, in the name of religion, in the name of God, they're robbing people, they're looting people, and also giving prayers to people and charging money. It's a very big business.
That's wrong.
But Harish, you've said a lot of intense things there, and you've brought in crime and other things, which I feel like we're sort of going off on a tangent here, because ultimately I want to understand, are you offended when people pray?
No, I'm not offending. If people are happy to prayer, they have every right to prayer. I'm not saying that, but if people are saying, that I will charge you such and such money, and you have got a list of things that, my son should get married, my daughter actually should get promotion, or my husband is alcoholic and he should be...
People don't say that though, do they? Go on.
No, people go to these people.
There's levels of prayer, and on the most basic level of prayer, we can ask for things for ourselves, we can ask for mundane things. However, on a deeper level, we pray for the well-being of others, and we pray for our relationship with God to go deeper. So
but
yes, you're
that's
right.
a bribery, isn't it? That's a bribery. That's a bribery to the so-called God.
It's not bribery.
It is a bribery.
It's a conversation, like you talk to a friend. So I would talk to my friend about anything that's on my mind, and in the same way.
Okay, Harish, just to pick up on that point, I'm going to come to Sukhdeep in a moment, because Sukhdeep's sitting quietly.
Let me just butt in, please. I was just going to say that you seem like a very angry person. And,
I'm not angry at all.
This is the thing, right? That no one's here.
No, I'm not angry. Honestly, I'm not angry.
Speak now, and there's no need for you to there's no need for us to prove to you that God exists, right? We don't need to prove that to you. All we're doing here is talking about prayer. But when it comes to the idea of proving something, we're not here to believe, we're here to experience. So like something that Benji was saying here, my sister, was that when it comes to meditation, it's about experiencing. When it comes to prayer, it's about experiencing something. And in the Sikh faith, prayer is not contractual. It's not like I pray for this and they must give me this, because we're talking about prayer being a relationship. And just like if you look in the world, for example, someone may have a great relationship with their partner, but it doesn't mean they're going to get everything that they want from the partner, right? There's always a balance at the same time. And let's just bring it back to the football, right? Because that's the reason why we are here. We're not here to talk about is God exists or not, even though obviously we experience God and believe in that one. But what I just want to say, just to finish off with, is that let's not make prayer to something that is short term. Let's make it something that's long term. And it's a relationship with that one. And it's, in one way, it's nice to see that people are praying for the game, because it's like they remember when they won. And also for the England players, like when Delph came back to the UK, it was nice to know so many people are supporting them. But let's make it long term, just like how Mo Salah, for example, every single game he plays, he prays.
Of course.
Prays, right?
It's a Muslim
So
role.
we do see so many of our players praying too, and you know, that's something that they very much offer to God, whoever it is that they pray to.
I was saying that the people who are Christian people, they are not praying. So
they're praying too, which was my earlier point.
But it's a different kind of prayer, though, isn't it? And as I mentioned, look, some people, pray. Look, we've not got enough time to argue about this, but the whole point about praying for intervention, I think that, as you quite eloquently said, that it's not a contractual thing, is it? Right?
Can I
let me get Abdullah, and then I'm going to come to you, Harish.
Yeah, cheers, thank you. Just the prayer, the word, there's two words that are commonly used as prayer in the Islamic lexicon. There's dua and salah, right? Now, dua is what we would think of as the best English translation is supplication. You raise your hands and you pray that position, where you literally, the slave is asking the Lord, right? And there's a beautiful statement from Muhammad who said that God shies away from sending his slave back empty-handed. That's that. And then salah, which is the ritual prayer, which we pray a minimum of 5 times a day. And that comes from the word in the Arabic language, link in a chain. So what it literally means is connection. One of the early Muslim sort of fathers said that we would imagine when we were standing for prayer that God was in front of us, heaven was on the right, hell was on the left, and we would raise our hands and throw the world behind our back. It's a moment of connection. Now, what we're experiencing here, this is the power of technology and radio, is we're experiencing a connection at a human level through electromagnetic signals with whoever's listening. And that's what salah is. Now, dua is asking for your needs.
Okay.
If a divine exists, if you just posit this philosophical argument, maybe Harish, in rational terms, which you don't, to be honest, in my opinion, seem to be much of a rationalist, but we can agree to disagree, is if one posits that the divine exists and that he is incontingent and all-powerful, omniscient and omnipresent by nature, it would be illogical not to ask the divine for everything, because that's the origin.
I think it's safe to say Harish isn't going to be praying tonight.
No. Neither am I for the match. So.
Neither is Abdul.
I think my point is that there are people who are suffering so much. There are people who are poor, the people who are enslaved.
So he's talking about the question of evil.
But you think people should, if you're going to pray, you should pray for meaningful things?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is that if the prayers could have worked, then there should not be any injustice. We have made the law because...
Hold on. Who said that?
What do you mean, who said that?
I suppose the argument is if you pray for something, then it will happen. And Harish's point is, well, lots of people pray for world peace, and that doesn't happen.
And then
Straw Man 101 right here. No. You're conflating two issues which are over 3,000 years old and were dealt with.
Even still, there are a number of people who are suffering every day. The children are suffering, the women are suffering, and there are so many injustices going on in the world. How come the God or the prayers are saying they are not praying because they are not praying because they are suffering, and the people who are in hospital, they are suffering? If the prayers could work, as I said before, we do not need NHS, we do not need police, we do not need...
I've got a couple of minutes, and I'm really conscious that I have to wrap up.
To that, but I'm not going to have time to give it. But Harish, I'm just going to say your point's ridiculous. That's all I have to say, really.
I can simply say that your points are completely ridiculous. I don't understand what he's talking about.
Both of you need to get together and go watch the England game tonight, I reckon. Just a quick message from G, who says, I used to be very religious and spiritual a few years ago, but no longer prescribed to that. Do I believe in a higher power? Yes. Do I believe it is benevolent? No.
Fair point.
Does this power care? Probably not, in which case prayer is probably more placebo than anything else. That's Jeet's viewpoint. I've got about 20 seconds. Do you guys want to say anything else to wrap up?
Quickly. I'll just say quickly on Harish's point, if good things only happen to good people and bad things only happen to bad people, then everyone obviously know that God exists, right? And just when it comes to praying for the game, I won't be praying for the game, I'll be praying for Harish and for all of mankind. I'll be praying for your happiness. The happiness that we're talking about is that one that's sitting inside you. So God bless you, bro.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for praying.
That's very nice.
But I don't think that prayers will help. It's the actions. Actions will help.
Just quickly, what I'll say
10 seconds.
is, Harish, just as a practicing scientist, I really find it facetious that you're using scientism as a bandwagon for your false beliefs. That's what I really believe, and good luck to you, mate.
Bijal,
take the opportunity to try prayer if you haven't, whether it's for tonight or for anything else. Take this opportunity. It's tried and tested over billions of years, and why not?
Thank you so much. That was quite rowdy, wasn't it? But,
radio is.
Yep, I really enjoyed speaking to all of you. Thank you so much, Harish, for coming on. Dr. Harish Mehra there, founder of the Asian Rationalist Society, also Imam Abdul Basit, Sukhdeep Singh and Bijal Majithia. It's now time for Asia Network Reports with Anka Desai.